Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinabadhitamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru Stotram. Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Stavaram Jangamam Yaptam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapiyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. There you go. Let's do Sloka 32. That's where we must have stopped. Sunyamasīditi bruhe Sunyamasīditi bruhe Brushe Sadjogam va sadatmatam Jogam va sadatmatam Sunyasya satutaduktajuktam Sunyasya satutaduktyaktam Ubayam vyaha tatvataha Vayam naha tattvataha. Together. Sunyamasīditi brushe Sajjogam va sadatmatam Sunyasya satutaduktam Ubayam vyaha tattvataha. So trying to analyze what is existence, and in the process looking at the Buddha's or Bauddhikas analysis of what is the ultimate. For them it's called Sunyam. Sunyam, as far as we understand, is nothing. Sunyam is there's nothing there. Zero. And whereas according to Vedanta it is Sat, existence was there. So Sadeva Saumya, existence alone was there before creation. That's how the Upanishad starts. And whereas the Bauddhikas or Buddhas or Buddhimatas, they do not believe in scriptures. So obviously they do not essentially take the pramana of scriptures. And what is the means of knowledge for them? Only the logic. Logically they have to deduce. So anything in this world is objectified. So without anything is only that. If I eliminate all this, it's not this, it's not this. So if eliminate all the objects, what is left is nothing. And they call it is the absolute truth, because every object is finite and nothing is infinite, obviously. So because anything finite is objectified. So that's how they call it. A Sunyam is the ultimate truth. And Vedantis criticizes, what do you call it? Sunyam. And we call it existence. Now what's the difference between existence and Sunyam? That at least we should know. Whether the Bauddhikas agree or not, we should have clear understanding of what exactly Scripture says existence means. Existence is that which provides existence to every object. Because from the existence only everything came, just as from the gold ornament came, so gold is that which provides the support. So it is a cause, and therefore the effect is nothing but the cause itself in a different form, as long as it is the material cause. It came from that material. Therefore, the material itself is appearing as in this form. That's what is cause-effect relationship it is. So therefore, existence alone was there before creation, and the same existence became many. So many should have existence. And many should have existence in what form? If it is any form, then it is another finite. So it is a formless form, and that supports all forms. So whenever I say object is, object has existence. Otherwise I cannot say object is. So existence is expressed in the form of object as is. Or means isness. So how do I know? How can I see? You cannot see, because existence is infinite. I cannot see, but it is expressing itself in this form. Form I can see. And whenever I see any form, existence is expressing itself in a form for me to see. Follow how it says? So, existence itself was there before, and now it is expressing itself in varieties of names and forms, because every form is nothing but an attribute, and attribute should have a locus as an object, but I don't see an object. I say I am seeing an object, but I am not really seeing an object. I am only seeing attributes of the object, and from the attributes I say there is an object. Because I cannot have attributes. Attribute means qualities without a locus for the. So therefore there is a chair out there, and what I am seeing is the form and the color of the chair through my eyes, and based on that, therefore it is an eyewitness account, therefore I can see, therefore it is there. I see it, therefore it is there. Other fellow says it is there, therefore I see it. So there is a difference between the two. I see it, therefore it is there, or it is there, therefore I see it. So the difference between it is only because if I see it, therefore it is there, is a subjective creation also. It can be subjective creation, because I see a snake, say a snake there, therefore there is a snake there. It may not be a snake. It may be a rope. But I see it as a snake. Therefore, just because I see it, therefore it is there, need not be an objective reality unless I go and confirm through transaction. Hey, if I beat it or go out and show it something, it says, yes, what I see and what is there. You follow now? But I see a chair there, therefore it is chair. Is it a hallucination or is it real chair there? So I have to go, and then if I sit on it and says, I know it is a chair there. So a transaction has to be involved to confirm, not to see, to confirm or to prove that what I see is what is there. So I am not creating through my mind attributes of the chair and then say there is a chair out there. That's called idealistic philosophy. In the Western philosophy, I see it, therefore it is there. You cannot say that, because I am not creating the attributes of the object there and then I am seeing it. My mind doesn't create it. So who creates it? Some other mind has to create it. The total mind creates it. What's the total mind? It's called Ishvara. Just as when I am dreaming, now because you can see the analogy, when I am dreaming, I am seeing the forest and everything else is there. So when I take myself, I am a dream subject in my dream, sitting in my dream and looking at the forest. I say, who created this forest? A dream subject inside the dream doesn't create it, because he is already seeing what is there. Follow? In the same way, as I am not creating the chair out there, I am only seeing the chair that is there through the attributes. In the same way, a dream subject also may be seeing a chair in the dream, and he say, I didn't create it, I am just seeing it. Right? Then who created? It is the total mind, which is a waking mind, that projected not only the whole dream world as well as the dream subject also, and therefore both the subject and object are created by one mind. Follow now? Now you see the analogy of how the dream example comes into picture. In the same way, the total mind of the whole creation is pervaded by the total mind, which pervades the individual minds as well in the creation, just as the total waking mind is pervading the individual minds inside my dream. The tiger mind is also the waking mind only, right? So, Swami Tejamananda used to say, I dreamt as an exam, I'm taking an exam, and I failed in my exam in my own dream. I set up my own question paper because it is me who's waking mind who set up the question paper, and I am the one who is taking exam, and I flunked my own examination that I set it up. This is what it is. Like the tiger that is chasing me. I created the tiger and I let the tiger chasing me. So all these things can happen from the total mind point, but individual mind doesn't do it. Right? So there is a subjective creation where I create a snake there when there is a rope. That's my subjective creation. Whereas an objective creation is there's a real rope there. I didn't create a rope. Rope was there already. And that's a creation of the total mind, which is called Ishvara. You follow now where the Ishvara comes into picture and the real local mind comes into picture. If this is understood clearly, now what exactly is that the total mind itself became many, which is existent of that form, is expressing itself in various names and forms. And therefore, that existence I cannot see, but because of which every object has its existence. And I say, I am seeing an object means it exists. Therefore, existence is expressing itself in that form. So that's how, just as gold itself is expressing itself in the ring form, or in the bangle form, or in the bracelet form. So it is the material cause that expresses itself. And therefore, that existence is itself. That's why he says, let me become many, and he himself became many. Many means names and forms have become. So whole creation is nothing but existence itself. But I cannot see existence. But I can see object existence through which I can deduce that there is an existence pervading. So whenever I see something that is existing, then I had to gather it is the existence that I am seeing in this form. Existence is nothing but the Lord, the truth. The truth itself, because it's Satchidananda Swarupam, whatever existence is consciousness, is consciousness is the Anandam. So that is Satchidanandam which was there, itself expressing in different forms. Now, what is my realization? Realization is, self-realization is not something God is going to come or do something. I had to see in and through whatever I see, that which pervades all that I see as the very essence of what I see. So how do I know? He's going to talk about all that. But here he is trying to differentiate. It is not absence of everything. It's the presence of existence. And presence of existence is different from absence of everything. Okay? It may exist in the form. How do I know? Example is, it is self-evident. Existence becomes self-evident. Just a simple example is, when you are in the dark, pitch dark room, say, do you exist? Of course, everybody say yes. So how do you know? Can you see? So I don't need to see that I had to exist, because it is a self-evident. I know I exist. For everything else, I need a pramana. But for me to know I am, that means I exist, I am pure existent and conscious entity, I don't need any means of knowledge. For other things I need. And how do I know other things? They have to come into my consciousness for me to say it exists. Because I should be conscious of the existence of the object, then only I say object is. You follow now? The existence expressed in the whole universe in the names and forms is translated or transferred as though into my consciousness as a subject, and the subject-object are unifying to become, for me, to be conscious of the existence of the whole object in the world. All this is involved in this self-realization. It's not an objectification, but in every object I should be able to see underlying truth that I am that existence that is pervading in these forms. So here he is criticizing the Sunyavada. Says, what do you call Sunyam? Is it absence? So Sunyam asiditi brushe. If you say that there was, Sunyam was existing. You have to say like that, right? Sunyam means absence of everything was there. Now, what is the relation between was means existing? Sunyam is absence of everything. What's the relation between the existence and the Sunyam? He's asking a question to the Nayayikas. These are Nayayikas or the Buddhists. He says, Sadyogam va sadatmatam va. You have to imply. Either it is relation between two things. So yoga means joining two things. So it's called samyoga sambandha. Is it a samyoga sambandha? Is two things are joined together? Like there is a watch here and the table here. Now when I put the watch on the table, the contact relation, say there is a watch on the table. So this watch is qualified by being on the table, right? So it is qualified by having its existence association with the table compared to other watch which is not in the table. So this relation between the table and the watch is contact relationship. Whereas if I say this is a round watch or this is of this size of the watch, the relation between the quality and the watch is being specified. It's not a contact relationship. The attribute or viseshana visheshya sambandha means relation between is a black watch or a white watch or a silver watch or whatever watch I give a qualification. It is not, I cannot separate the qualification from the watch, whereas I can separate the watch from the table. Because this is samyogam, contact relationship can be disconnected. Whereas the visheshana visheshya sambandha is called samavaya sambandha in the Nayayikas, where you cannot separate the two things, because through attributes only I can know what is the object is. Most of the objective knowledge is through the attributive knowledge. So I cannot separate the attributes from the object. So therefore, what kind of relation you want to say establish between Sunyam and existence? When you say Sunyam was alone there before creation. Because you have to say something, before creation what was there? Sunyam was there. That means it was existing. So what's the relation between the existence and Sunyam? Is it a relation between two things or a relation between the quality and the object? He's asking a question because these are all discussions in the Tarka Shastra. Okay? So it's a hair-splitting type of arguments here. So this is a relation between Sadyogamba. Is it a relation of contact relation between the two things? Or Sadatma, or its essential nature itself is existence. So tell me what it is. So if it says Sunyasya Satu Tadyuktam Ubhayam Vyahatattvataha, if it say that if it is of the nature of the existence, then why do you call it Sunyam? Because Sunyam is that which never ceased to exist. So you are essentially coming into our camp now. If you say it is of the same nature as existence, why do you call unnecessarily Sunyam? Nothing. It is something which is existence itself. It is not nothing. It is just as you say I say I exist. It's not. You are not nothing. You are pure existence. You may not be able to see yourself as I am, because I am this, but at the same time, you know you exist. So it's not of that nature. So therefore, if you say it is of that existence, then you have no business to call it as a Sunyam. That's one problem. If you say it is not of the nature of existence, existence may be its quality, attribute. If you say that, again you have a problem. Why? Because the quality should be different from the object that is getting qualified. If I say blue lotus, blue is different from lotus. Blueness is different from lotusness. if I want to call it. So, if because the quality has to be different from the locus in which it is having it. So, therefore, if you say it is an attribute, then what is an attribute which is different from existence? It has to be different from existence. Can only be a non-existence. Existence can only, whatever is different from existence can only be non-existence. And if we say non-existence is qualifying the existence, it make a ridiculous statement. Therefore, it is a contradiction. You follow now the logic? This is what when you read all this Tarka Shastra, you go to sleep. But they have analyzed so deeply to find out what exactly is the nature of the reality. So it says he's questioning the arguments of the Sunyavadins. And he justifies, these are two contradictions, the existence and the non-existence. Sunyam is actually non-existence, and they are contradictory things, and you cannot have contradictory things in one and the same time. So that is what in this Sloka 33 he says. Nayuktas tamasa suryo na pichasau tamo mayaha satsunyayor virodhitva sunyamasit katham vada. Sunyamasit katham vada. Together. Nayuktas tamasa suryo na pichasau tamo mayaha satsunyayor virodhitva sunyamasit katham vada. So tamasa suryo na yuktaha. So tamasa means darkness. Darkness in the sun cannot be possible. So when there is a sun, so if you go to, in case you go to sun and go and look around it, there cannot be any darkness in the sun. So, because they are completely opposite to each other. And you cannot say, so it cannot be the quality of sun. Darkness cannot be quality of the sun, nor you cannot say that it is same as darkness or it pervades the sun. So neither there can be a contract relationship nor it can be a qualified relationship, just as the sunyam and this one, because they are virodhi, they are completely opposite. So na yuktaha tamasaha suryaha na api cha asau tamomayaha. Neither the sun can be full of darkness or qualified by darkness. So therefore, you cannot have any relation between the sun and the darkness. So in the sun, we cannot have night, right? Can we have day in the sun?
Yes.
It's always day.
Day comes only when there is a night. So, because this question is analyzed in the witnessing consciousness. So, in the waking state, you have witnessing consciousness plus the waker. With the body, mind and intellect. So I am awake and so on. And I can be consciousness who is witnessing the waking state. And I am witnessing the dream state also. I am witnessing the deep sleep state also, because I say I slept very well because I was there. Now the witnessing consciousness never sleeps. Right? Only the fellow who sleeps is a waker and dreamer and deep sleep star. The ego is the one that goes to sleep, but pure consciousness never sleeps because ever shining itself. So does he sleep? He says no. He's always awake means he doesn't sleep also. So it's always, just as in the sun there is no darkness or night or in the sun also. So Sat Sunyayoho Virodhitvat. In the same way, Sat, existence, and Sunyam, what you are referring to, non-existence or absence of everything, is Virodhitvat, cannot be possible. They are opposite completely. Sunyamasit katham vada. Therefore, how can you say that Sunyam absence of everything was existing before creation. So this is the argument of the Buddhists. Therefore, existence alone was there. Who says that? Scripture says. Therefore, scripture becomes a pramana. Therefore, Buddhists don't believe in the scriptures as a Vedanta as a pramana. Therefore, you cannot establish the reality without having a Vedanta pramana. Follow is one of these basic aspects of it is you cannot establish. So this is a discussion that comes in mostly in my. People keep asking me, why can't he be teacher? I realize a jnani cannot be, why can't he be a teacher as any teacher? He may not need scriptures. If he knows what it is, why can't he be a guru? So what should be a guru? Who should be a guru? Who should be a teacher? A teacher is the one, according to Vedanta, who is Sutriyam, who himself has studied Shruti from his teacher. And how did his teacher learn? From his teacher all the way up. So that means you have to have a sampradayam, a methodology of teaching and depending on belief in the scripture as the means of knowledge. Why scripture as a means of knowledge? Why can't a realized person be the means of knowledge? A lot of people say Ramana Maharshi says so, or Sai Baba says so, and so on. Why can't they be pramana? If you are a disciple, you assume that he is a pramana. But it cannot be universal pramana for everybody else. Because other people don't believe in it. So therefore, if a particular person is going to be a pramana, his experience become pramana only. That means he says so because he has experience. Therefore, I believe in him. You can have a belief in him, no problem. But it cannot be means of knowledge for propagating the philosophy because you need a pramana independent of any teachers. Right? You need a means of knowledge which is a reference from which, yes, everybody's experience, as long as they agree with Vedanta, you can accept them. If they don't agree with Vedanta, then it's a Vedanta becomes a pramanam, not the individuals. So that becomes an essential for understanding. So a right teacher is the one who himself studied the scriptures, and therefore for him also he refers the disciples to scripture as a pramana, not to himself as the authority. So he is the right teacher. So sat sunyayoho viroditvat sunyamasit katham vada. Therefore, how can you say that this non-existence or sunyam was existing before creation? So that is. Now the question that comes in, so you cannot say, you cannot prove the existence alone was there before creation. Say, I cannot perceive the sunyam also. But sunyam itself can be expressing in different forms. Because anyway, you are not there before creation. You are only expressing from the creation point anyway. And you are saying all these things all is existing because there was existence before. I'll say there was sunyam before. And that itself expressing in different names and forms now. Why can't you say like that? I'm saying just like what you're saying. So therefore, if non-existence was there before creation and now it is expressing in different names and forms as existence, if you say like that, he says, then there is some problem in that also. So he's going to criticize that argument in the 34. Viyadade nama rupe Viyadade nama rupe Mayaya suvikalpite Mayaya suvikalpite Sunyasya nama rupe cha Sunyasya nama rupe cha Tata ched jivyatam chiram Tata ched jivyatam chiram. Together. Viyadade nama rupe Mayaya suvikalpite Sunyasya nama rupe cha Tata jivyatam chiram. So in case, Vyad Adi means etc. So according to our scriptures, the creation started with the creation of the space. So therefore, Akashat, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi, Prithviya, Vashdaya, and so on. So the creation started with from Atmana Akasha Sambhuta. From Akasha came. And then all other things came. So if you say that Vyad Nama Rupi, they are all names and forms came from by Maya, Suvikalpiti, Maya. Through Maya, they are created. Say Kalpana means they are projected. It's not real creation, it is apparent creation. Because it is in Brahman, which was there before, from which the whole creation came into picture. So according to Vedanta, that Brahman is a conscious entity, and conscious existent entity, and existent consciousness is all pervading, that is infinite, because Ekameva Advitiyam, and from that whole creation came. That's all. And how do you explain the creation? Because infinite cannot create. Because that's a problem there. Infinite creation involves a modification, and infinite cannot undergo modification. Therefore, infinite cannot really create. Therefore, you are bringing some factor that makes a creation possible. An impossible possible because it's called Maya. Why? How do you define Maya? It's called Agatita Gatana Patiyasi Maya. That which makes impossible possible. That's exactly what the Maya is. So, Maya Suvikalpite, it is as though created, as though projected in Brahman, where there is no really creation. So, what is exactly this Maya? He is going to talk a lot of slokas on Maya itself in this chapter, because he is going to take systematically one by one. But Maya is that which makes possible. One became many. So even from science point, says one becoming many involves a driving force. A force is required in order to change a state. So why do we require? I don't say a force. That's why you may not see the force, but the fact that one has become many itself implies that there was a force. Right? If a thing has moved from one place to other place, I don't see a force, but the fact that it has moved from one place to other place means there was a force applied for it to move. Why? Because the result itself presupposes a force that is causing that effect. That's what Maya is. Maya is that I cannot have a creation in this Brahman, because Brahman is infinite, and infinite is conscious entity, and I am seeing in unconscious entities in the whole creation. How can conscious entity becoming unconscious entity? It cannot. At the same time, it appears to be. That's why it is impossible is becoming a possible, and that is called Maya. Okay? So, Maya Suvikalpite Sunyasya Nama Rupecha. In case you argue that Sunyam was there before, from which all names and forms have formed, all you are saying is you are using a different word. What was there according to scripture is existence alone was there, and itself appearing as many into names and forms. In case, not that he is going to say like that, but in case if you say that existence is the same as Sunyam, from which the whole creation, because that existence is a conscious entity, according to our Brahman. So that conscious existence, what you call, if you call it as a Sunyam, because a lot of people are now arguing that that's what essentially the Buddhistic philosophy is, because what you call it Sunyam was existent consciousness alone. But in case if you say that that is so, that means you are only using a different name, Sunyam, although it's a wrong word because Sunyam implies non-existence. But if in case if you say that it is Sunyam, Tata Jiva Jivyatam Charam, may you live long. Bless you, because you are coming to my camp. in case you agree with what was Sunyam is nothing but existent consciousness, that was Brahman alone, you can use whatever name you want. We don't care. As long as you accept that it was conscious existence which is infinite and it is created by Maya, because what was there is not really creation, apparent creation. And if you say all that, then may we bless you with a long life. So this is the acceptance. So here essentially a lot of people argue with this kind of, lot of new Buddhists at least. I don't know the new Buddhists, or people argue that what they call Sunyam is nothing but existence.
When they become Hindus at that stage.
Yeah. But they don't accept the Veda Pramana. So therefore, in case you agree with what we say, then God bless you. So with that, the argument about the Sunyavada, you will come back again a little bit, Nayayikas, but with that he finishes the chapter about Sunyavadins. Now, another statement is taken. What is that? Sadeva Saumya Idamagram Asit. That was the statement. Existence alone was there. Right? So, every time when we use the word of is, was and all that, it itself expressing the existence. Table is there means existence expressed in a table form. Name is given for that existence. So Nama Rupa, Nama is involving a name. We are giving a name to it because we are seeing it, therefore we are knowing it, and therefore we are naming it. Nameability and knowability go together. And Rupa involves attributes through which I am saying that there is a table, there is a chair, which is attributes of chair is different from attributes of the table and different from attributes of every object in the world. Therefore, when I say that there is, so there is a vastu is there, object is there, and is indicates the existence of that object. Now, what was the statement? Existence alone was there. Now, are you saying there are two things, existence and was? Was itself implies existence. Just like is existence, is implies existence. Now, are there two things? Are there two things existing? I mean, this is all logical questioning itself, and that's what he is addressing in the next sloka. So, in case if there is an objection that there are statements like there are two existences, he says that's not so. Sato pinama rupe dve. Sato pinama rupe dve kalpite chittadavada kalpite chittadavada kruteti niradishthano kruteti niradishthano brahma kvachidikshate Brahma kvachidikshate. Together. Sato pinama rupe dve kalpite chetadavada kruteti niradishthano brahma kvachidikshate. Sataha api nama rupe dve kalpite chet. So, sataha api nama rupe. So, it says existence and there was, in the name of existence was there, if you use asi. Asi is used as the existence or something as sat eva. Idamagra asit. Asit was there. So therefore, sataha api nama rupe dve kalpite chet. If you say that there existing was there as existence, if there are two, as the names and forms are superimposed on that, then there is something. I'm going ahead here. Kutrati niradhisthana. Oh, this is adhishtanam aspect. So, nama rupe, there two, I'm sorry, it says, sat api nama rupe dve. Nama rupa is name and a form, and sat is existence. Or the two things. Kalpite chetadavada. Says, are there really two? Existence was there before creation, and now it says names and forms are there, existing. It says, if you have something there existing, this is a continuation of the Sunyavada only. If you say that there was nothing else is there, but Nama Rupa came, if you want to join my camp, and it was non-existence before, and now it is forming, expressing in terms of names and forms. If you say, then how can you have something without anything becoming into Nama Rupa? Follow the argument now. I'm confused a little bit. It says, if I say these names and forms are existing, now that's what you want to join my camp, and you want to say Sunyam was there before and it is expressing in terms of different names and forms. If you say it is same as our Brahman, there is no problem. We welcome you. But if you say it is non-existence is becoming into different names and forms, then you have a problem. Why? Because there has to be something for it to become something. There has to be the adhishthanam. Adhishthanam is a support for, if a table is there has to be support for the existence of a table. Simple example is, if I say ring is there, a bangle is there has to be support for bangle and a ring. And that is the gold. Right? So from gold it came, and by gold it is sustained, into gold it goes back. So that becomes the upadana karana, or the material cause for it. So material is supports the material. Right? Suppose the name and the form is supported by the material. Gold supports all the ornaments. So if I say existence was there before, then all names and forms are there. The existence has to be supporting it. Every object is supported by what? Existence. And therefore it is there means the existence is supporting. So Nama, all names and forms, if you say Sunyam was there before, non-existence was there before, and it became many names and forms, then you have a problem, because you should have a adhishthanam, a support for the existence of any object. And that support has to be formless and nameless. And that has to be material cause. And Sunyam, which is nothing, cannot be material cause. Therefore, says kutra iti. How can it be possible? Iti. Kutra means to say where without any support for nir avadhisthanaha. So without having adhishtanam. Adhishtanam means the support for the creation. Say how can that be possible? Brahmaha pachit ichati. Brahma means how can this possible of what you are seeing cannot be possible without sustaining. If I am seeing something, there has to be support for it. So give you a simple example. When I say there is a snake there, okay, say snake has to exist. When I say I am seeing a snake, so where does the snake exist? Now tell me exactly. In my mind or there? If in my mind is I'm seeing the snake there, right? But the snake is there, and what is the adhisthana support for the snake? Snake is there where the rope is, isn't it? So rope becomes adhishthanam for the snake. For me, even though it is a Brahma means even though it's my imagination, it's not a Brahma. Brahma means a valid knowledge. Brahma means an invalid knowledge. So Brahma means a hallucination or error in the perception. Delusion. And therefore, when I say there is a snake out there, where I am seeing the snake, it is 5 feet long, it is lying there on the alley, and then I cannot cross it because the snake may bite me, and I am putting the snake there where the rope is. So what is the adhishthanam? Where adhishthanam means what is supporting the snake? Supporting the snake is by the rope only. Okay? And even though it is my projection, my error of judgment, it is there is what is the support. So for every object, whether it is real or unreal, whether it is a Brahma or a Prama, there has to be adhishthanam. Adhisthana means a support for its existence. Now, the definition of God is, I don't know if if you have listened to my Bhakti talk once. This is from actually Paramatmananda's first definition of God is, I gave is Jagat Karta Ishvaraha. Who is a God? If somebody asks, who is a God? God is the one who is a creator. Right? That's all the first. Every religion say God created the world. So, the first definition of God is Jagat Karta. He created this world. So, that's the first definition. Why did he create? He doesn't have any other business. So, why did he create this kind of mess? And why did he create me without consulting me? If you ask further questions, if you ask other religions, they'll say that's a blasphemy. You cannot ask that questions. But Vedanta is allowed to ask questions. If you ask that question, they provide a second definition. And the second definition is Jagat Karanam Ishvaraha. Not only is Karta, Karanam, Karta. So he is not only an intelligent cause, he is the material cause also. That means he himself became material. So you have no business to complain, because it is only him only. If at all he has to complain. Why does he become? He says that is his glory. If you ask gold, why did you become ring and a bangle and a necklace and a bracelet? Either he can say, I never became anything, I am just gold. That's true also. Or it's my glory, why not? I am malleable, ductile and so on. I can exist in look at my glory, beauty. I can express myself in various beautiful. Nobody, if I am lump up there, nobody puts on their neck. At least in this form they are putting and decorating with me. So it's my glory. It's called Vibhuti. It's called in the 10th chapter of Gita. It says, look at my Vibhuti. There are millions of Vibhuti, but at least he gives what Arjuna is familiar with. For you can see everything becomes a Vibhuti. Whatever you see, when I recognize the presence of the Lord, then I see it as a Vibhuti now. Follow? Lord is expressing in this form also. So one lady was making making a lot of noise. Then you can switch off and says, my God, Lord is expressing so beautifully in that form also. Your attention will be different completely. Because nothing but if that is realization. So you can switch off and bring the Lord there, then everything becomes beautiful. It's a drama there. Right? Drama is going on. Because drama, you need a villains and you need all those people in the drama, otherwise it will be too boring. So that becomes Jagat Karanam Ishvaraha. So how can I be? I cannot accept. I say I can accept everybody God, but not my neighbor. Not a neighbor. Then it goes third definition. Sarva Adhishtanam Ishvaraha. That which supports everything. So that's called in the 7th chapter of Gita. It says, Bhumi Rapo Naro Vayu Kammano Buddhi Revacha Ahankara Midiyam Me Bhinna Prakriti Rashtrada. This, the Apara Prakriti, there is all this manifestations, but beyond the manifestation, there is apareyamita swanyam prakritim vidhimi param. That is what is a para prakriti which is supporting the whole universe. That which is the supporting itself appearing meaning. It can be garbage, it can be a delicious food. It's the same electrons, photons, neutrons, right? Expressing beautifully in different form. Doesn't mean that I'll eat garbage. Even though I know it's electron, protons and neutrons, I go for delicious food and I differentiate one food. And Indian food is different from a bland American food, different from other food. Why? Even though all are electrons, protons, neutrons, but I can enjoy at the same time recognize oneness also. That is Sarva Adhishtanam. So there has to be a support. If something is changing, there has to be a changeless entity in the changing things, and the changeless entity has to be a support. If the ring has becoming a bangle and the bangle has become a necklace, there has to be some changeless entity in those changing things. That doesn't change. Right? So that is called Adhishtanam. In the same way, he says, if Nama Rupa, if all keeps are coming, changing Akasha into Vayu, Agni, Apa, if you say all those, and if you say Sunyam is the basis for it, how can you have non-existence supporting the existence of anything? Therefore, Kutra iti niradhishtano brahmaha kvachit ichhati. How can anybody see non-existence or absence of everything as a supporting of all these things. So that's not possible. Therefore, there is no sunyam. If at all sunyam, if you call it sunyam, that is same as Satchidananda Swarupam that we have. And this is what I was referring to, is this sloka now. It is existence and asti, asit. So that's the 30th sloka. 1 minute. Sadasiditi sabdarte, Sadasiditi sabdarte, Bede vaigunyamapate, De vaigunyamapate, Abhade punarukti syat, Abhede punariktasya, Maivam loke tatechanat, Maivam loke tatechanat. Together, Sada siditi abdarte, Bhede vaigunyamapate, Abhede punaruktisya, Maivam loke tatechanat. Sad asid, Sada asid is Sat asid. Existence was existing before, right? Sadeva Saumya Idamagram asid, that was. Existence was existing. So you're repeating 2 times. So this is Sada Sat asid, existence was. Sabdartha bhede, there are 2 words being used as Sabdam Artham. This is a Vedam is the difference. If you want to find out, there are 2 different words being used, indicating are they 2 different things or in the same thing? Are there 2 existences or 1 existence? If you say there are 2 existences, then you have a problem. If you have, say only 1 existence was existing, if you say, then it's called punarukti dosham. You are repeating same thing. That's also is called, considered as error. You cannot repeat same thing twice, which is then it's called punarukti dosham. Punarha means repeated, is a dosham. It's called the error of repetition. So if he says Bede, if you say Bedam, if it is a difference between Sat and Asit, if you say there is a difference between the existence and was, if you say, if there is a difference between the 2 existences, then you end up with Advaitam, not Advaitam. And it violates Ekameva Advitiyam. So therefore, then there is a problem. Is there a difference in the existence itself? And that's what Visishta Advaita talks about, where one existence in which there is a differences. One is the conscious existence, another is unconscious existence. So they have 2 existences separated out. But here it says, if you say that, that means they have Dvaitins, because there are 2 already. So Sada Asit is Sabdarte Bedhe Vaigunyamapate. Says, if there is a Vaigunyam, this is the essentially the possibility of Vaigunyam is duality. Possibility of duality is imposed when you say there are 2 different things, because if they differentiate between the existence and Asid, Sat and Asid. Abhede, if you say there are no difference, Punarukti Syat, there is an error of repetition. That's what says. If you say that, says that's not valid. Maivam loke tatechanat. Because we normally use this kind of language to communicate. Therefore, there is no really error. Don't try to point out something which is not there. Essentially, he's trying to say possibility of people objecting, and therefore is essentially loke means in the normal transactional world we normally use 2 times sometimes to indicate, to communicate. And he is going to give example for that in the next sloka. Kartavyam kurute vakyam, kurute vakyam, bhrute dharyasya dharanam, te dharyasya dharanam, ichchadivasana bishtam, ichchadivasana bishtam, pratyasi sajatiranam, pratyasi sajitiranam, Together. Kartavyam kurute vakyam bhrute dharasya dharanam ityadi vasana vishtam pratyasi saditiranam. So kartavyam kurute, the example says kartavyam, so what he did, what need to be done is one example. So he did what he did. You say he did, that's enough. He did what need to be done. Again is another word. So you are repeating the words which mean the same thing, but for transactional purposes that's okay. It gets communication. As long as you understand it, it means only he has done only one job, not two jobs. So kartavyam kurute gives you example. This is in the loke, in the transactional world. These are being used. Therefore, you cannot say existence was existing as two. Don't make a difference out of it. It's only one. And punarukti dosham is also not there. Punarukti means repetition dosham is there because we normally repeat it in order to emphasize the point also. And vakyam bhrute, his speech was spoken. Vakyam bhrute, speech was spoken. Okay, there's a repetition of the same word. Dharyasya dharanam. The same word. It says the burden is borne, or is borne in or taken. Ichyadi vasana abhishtam. It's this kind of usages are there in the loka. Says prati asit sat iti ranam. So in that sense only prati asit sat iti ranam. Sat and asit are being used in the same analogy. So therefore, it's not a really punarukti dosham, it's because it's how a communication is being done in the past. So he's trying to take objection by objection or possible objections in order to solve. The idea of this exhaustive analysis is to make sure that we won't have any confusion when somebody objects. Because if you go to literature of Vedanta, you will have all sorts of objections, particularly Dvaitins, Advaitins, or Visishta Advaitins, and there is a Satadhushani. Satadhushani by Vedanta Desika is 100 abuses against Advaita. Satadhushani is written by Vedanta Desika, by Visishta Advaita. But actually it may not be 100, it may be 68 or something like that. But if you look at, these are the types of all dialectic arguments. Okay, and there is another book by Dvaitin. This is the other one is Visishta Advaita. There is a Dvaitin book in Ayamrutam. Ayamrutam is by Vyasatirtha, and he has taken Navya Nyaya, new logic, to criticize it, and so complicated logic that many Advaitins could not answer it until the Madhusudana Saraswati came and answered. According to Advaita, Dvaitins don't accept it. According to Advaitins, Madhusudana answered in the Advaita Siddhi. I was trying to learn Advaita Siddhi from a teacher in Madras, and he was from Andhra, teaching in Madras in Tamil about Advaita Siddhi. So I have problem understanding. So I went to him. He says, "What language you understand?" Telugu. Oh, Telugu wala. So I will teach you in Telugu. So he was taking a separate special class for me to teach Telugu. Very kind of him, and a very famous logician. And it's a mind-boggling arguments, you know. Those who want to know, in my Advaita book I took some of the arguments of that. Anyway, that these are the dialectic arguments that are coming. And now he's going to talk about the time. Says, what was the statement? Existence alone was there before creation. So before involves a time concept. Right? So was there a time before creation came into picture? Because it says existence was there. Sadeva Soumya idam agramasi. Idam agra means before creation there was existence. That was a statement. That means before and after is a concept of time itself. Was there a time before creation started? If the time was there, then existence was there and time was there. You already have duality problem. See, now the argument is, if the time was there and existence was there, then you have a duality. So how will you explain this time business? So this will take, because the concept of time is very, very tricky question. And to tell frankly, the time itself is not specified in the creation. So existing akashat vayuhu. This is outer say atmana akasha sambhutaha akashat vayuhu vayu agni agni apaha abja prithvi. This is how there is no time coming there anywhere creation, not specified. Now is there a time?
It's implied in the sequencing.
Is it now? Is it really frequently? That's a question. Sequence implies a time concept.
Yeah,
that's what he said. So sequence implies a time. So time becomes an inherent in the creation is coming, but not specifically created.
That's what it is.
Yeah. So there was a paper. I think we are getting. There was a paper in the Science. Is no time, please. That's the title of the paper. Because people are using a time as a variable. Time is not a variable. We'll analyze that because it's more complicated a little bit. And we'll address that. We'll first do Purnamada and then Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamiva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om